to the crowd. And I'm admitting people now.
Hello, everyone. Hola a todos. We will get started in about a minute or two. Empezaremos la presentación en un minuto. We will get started in about a minute, just letting some people log in. Empezaremos en un minuto. Estamos esperando que llegue más gente. Okay, I think we can get started. Ya empezaremos. Thank you, everyone, for being here this afternoon, this evening. We're excited to talk to you about the Community Power Plan. If you want to check out the Community Power Plan while we discuss this, feel free to scan the QR code that is on the slide now. Hola a todos, gracias por estar aquí con nosotros esta tarde. Estaremos hablando sobre el plan de energía comunitaria. Para ver el plan, mientras estamos en la presentación, puede escanear el código QR con su teléfono para abrir el plan. So let's get started. As you may have noticed, we have interpretation available for Spanish speakers. It is simultaneous interpretation. If you want to enable this feature, if you want to get the simultaneous interpretation, please click on the interpretation icon on your screen. It looks like a globe, and enable Spanish, the Spanish interpretation. Make sure to hit the mute original audio so that you do not hear the English alongside. Como pueden ver, estamos ofreciendo interpretación en español para los que necesitan el lenguaje, la presentación en español. Para acceder a esta interpretación, por favor, presionen el botón que se llama interpretación. Parece como un globo. Cuando sale la página siguiente, puede escoger español. Por favor, escoja también que diga Mute Original Audio para que nomás pueda oír la presentación en español. So with that, we are now going to enable the interpretation, and our interpreters will take over for me in Spanish. So doing some brief introductions. Hello, everyone. My name is Nelson Lomelli. I am a program manager with San Diego Community Power. With me, I have Heather Rosenberg. She is the facilitator with our consultant, Arab. And also with me, we have two of our interpreters. We have Naira Pacheco Guzman, an interpreter, and Alexia Veita Rubio with us as well. Thank you for being here today. Some quick announcements for everyone. This presentation is being recorded to document feedback and will be available on our website alongside the slides. We will take questions at the end of the presentation. We have enabled the question and answer feature on Zoom so that you can type in your questions throughout the presentation that we can address later on. And for those that need it, we have also enabled closed captioning. So please click on the live transcription button and show subtitles to view the live transcription and subtitle and captioning. We have a lot to cover today. So for today's agenda, we are going to start with a brief overview about who San Diego Community Power is, talk about what the Community Power Plan is and the process that we follow to get to this point, talk about the work that we did to do a community needs assessment, talk about the program prioritization framework, then get to the meat of the plan, which is talking about the recommended program types that San Diego Community Power should take on and working on to launch to our customers in the near and in the short and midterm. And then lastly, we will get to the questions and answers from you all and end with providing you with multiple ways that you can provide feedback on this plan. So to start about who San Diego Community Power is. San Diego Community Power is a local, not-for-profit public agency that is the provider of clean, renewable energy. We offer two services, which we call Power On, which provides 50% renewable energy, and Power 100, which provides 100% renewable energy. This is an optional service and it does require you to sign up, but we do provide this option for everyone in our service. We serve 7 jurisdictions, 5 cities currently, the city of Chula Vista, the city of Encinitas, the city of Imperial Beach, the city of La Mesa, and the city of San Diego. So everyone in those cities, all business owners and residential residents do currently receive power from us. Starting on April 1st, we are going to extend service to the city of National City and to every person living in the unincorporated county of San Diego. This will make us the 2nd largest community choice program in the state of California. One of the common questions we get is how this works. So what we do is we go out and we buy electricity from renewable sources, and we also incentivize the market to build new renewable energy sources. We then deliver that electricity using SDG&E's power lines to you, to our customers, to our residents, and to our businesses. And in exchange, you get cleaner power, more local control of the energy sources, and competitive rates. So we are in competition with SDG&E for renewable energy, and you get to now have the choice to choose between us or SDG&E. So let's talk about the Community Power Plan. You may have heard about this. It may seem a little nebulous, but we're here to help you walk through the Community Power Plan. At its core, the Community Power Plan is our 5-year strategic plan for the types of customer energy programs that we should offer. So we undertook this process to create this Community Power Plan, and we needed to understand a couple of things. So we needed to understand what are the goals, the needs, and the priorities of our community. What are the goals, needs, and priorities of the organization of San Diego Community Power? And we also needed to understand what are the existing programs that are out there, and are people aware of those programs? And also understand what is the funding that is available in the marketplace. I think we all have seen there's a lot of funding flowing down from the federal government. And so there's a great opportunity here for us to offer some really innovative programs to our customers. This is a long time coming. So we've been working on this for the past 6 to 7 months. We started this effort back in July of 2022 with a series of listening sessions that I will get into more later. We then did a survey. We reported the results of that engagement back to our community, and then did the hard work of assessing which programs are able to meet the community needs. And so where we're at right now is we have just released a public draft of the community power plan so that we can get your feedback, your input, have you all review it and share with us what you think of the plan and what you would like to see from San Diego Community Power. The final step of this is in May of 2023. So next month, we are aiming to get our board, take this plan to our board for adoption. So to talk more about the community needs assessment, the goal of the community needs assessment really was to learn about the needs and priorities of our community. We wanted to approach this in a way that any program offering that we made available to our customers was going to meet those goals, needs, and priorities. And so we engaged in this community needs assessment. And one of the key focuses on this throughout this assessment was making sure that we were engaging in equitable and inclusive engagement and facilitation from our communities of concern. So we wanted to make sure that we were getting this right. To accomplish the community needs assessment, we developed an engagement strategy with the help of community leaders, as well as talking to our member agencies, the cities and the county that you saw early in the presentation, to learn from them of what are the best ways to engage from the community. And from that engagement strategy, we ended up co-hosting 12 listening sessions with community-based organizations that engaged nearly 200 community members. Those community-based organizations, you can see their logo at the bottom, which included Art Produce, Casa Familiar, the Chicano Federation, MAC, and Project New Village. But understanding that the listening sessions could only go so far, we wanted to meet the community where they were at. And so we held a series of pop-up events in the unincorporated San Diego County that engaged a further 100 community members. We also engaged in a series of interviews with interest group stakeholders. So these are organizations that have a particular interest or that are already serving the community at large. And so we interviewed them to learn from them about what they are hearing from the community are the needs and the goals. And so we culminated all of this with virtual workshops similar to this one, where we engage with businesses, large accounts, and the public, both in English and in Spanish, that engaged over 40 participants. So from all of this community engagement, we then created a community needs survey. And so this survey was meant to further understand the diverse needs and priorities of our community. To be as equitable and as inclusive as possible, we made the survey available in English, Spanish, and Tagalog, the 3 most common languages in our service area. And we had the survey open for 7 weeks between August and mid-October of last year. Knowing that surveys can be a little difficult and be self-selecting, and meaning people tend to respond who have more time or wealthier, we made sure that we did as much as possible to break those barriers down. So we included the survey and promoted it on mailers that went to over 600,000 customers. We included a note in customer bills. We did a website banner. We did a lot of social media posts, encouraged social media posts from our elected officials, from our community-based organizations, and from our member cities. And we spent some money doing targeted ads in hard-to-reach communities. So we made these ads, targeted those ads specifically for Spanish and Tagalog-speaking audiences. We also did print ads encouraging Spanish and Tagalog-speaking members of our community to take the survey. And we also met the community where they were at and did in-person survey collection and promotion at community events. So we did a lot of work because we wanted to make sure that we heard from all of that work that we did. We received over 2,900 responses from within our service territory. We actually received a lot more responses throughout the survey collection, but once we did the data cleaning, we saw over 2,900 from our service territory.
Is that better?
Yes, that's better.
Thank you. Sorry, my headphones died in the middle of this, so this is perfect. So what I was saying is that we received over 2,900 responses from our community throughout the result as a result of all of these efforts. 2,800 of those came from residential customers, and 130 of those came from commercial customers. And you can see the breakdown of how these came down in terms of jurisdiction, in terms of its city, in terms of income, and all of those nice graphs in the community power plan itself. But because we have a lot of content, we did not include it in this presentation. So from that survey, we learned the top 5 energy issues that our community faces. Their number 1 being reducing energy bills. So we heard across the board from residential and commercial customers that reducing energy bills was a top priority. So was addressing climate change. We also heard that people want to get rewarded for adjusting their energy use and also want to see good, well-paying jobs in the energy sector. And then importantly as well, is we heard from people and from our businesses that they want to breathe cleaner air inside of their homes and businesses. So this was important for us to keep in mind. Knowing that the solutions lie within the community, we asked as well to learn from what are the top solutions that our community wants to see. And so one of the top issues that our community noted was in order to address climate change is seeing more renewable energy generated within the San Diego region. And then also wanted to see improved indoor and outdoor air quality through electrification, meaning for indoor air quality, it's electrifying buildings to make sure that there is less air pollution inside as a result of burning natural gas. And then in terms of outdoor air quality, making sure that transportation was electrified so that we were releasing less air pollution as a result of vehicles driving around. Additionally, we did hear from our community that they wanted to see more renewable energy being installed both on rooftops and parking lots. So as you can see, our community really cares about climate change, and they wanted to see more renewable energy built both at the large scale and at the smaller scale. So that is a quick summary of what we did with our community needs assessment and what we learned as a result of all of that engagement. And so now I want to turn it over to my colleague, Heather Joy Rosenberg, to talk a little bit about how we took all of that information and all of those issues and solutions that people wanted to see and built it into this program prioritization framework. Heather?
Great. Thank you so much, Nelson. And thanks everybody for being here. It's really excited to share out this work that we've been engaged in with SDCP for quite some time. So Arup is a technical consultant. We are an engineering firm focused on sustainable development and worked alongside SDCP and our partners at Kearns and West and others to really understand not just what were the community needs, but make sure that that was not just a check the box exercise, but really that then informed the technical process that we went through to make recommendations in the Clean Power Plan. So next slide. So the first thing we needed to really do, or in parallel with the community process that Nelson was describing, we went through all of the different kinds of energy programs out there. We looked at more than 200 programs that are offered, whether it's by utilities or local governments, or at the state or federal level, all kinds of different options that are out there, and made a database to say, well, what could potentially be done, and even added some that were missing that we think, you know, could be combinations of things, to really make sure we're being responsive and have a full suite of tools to respond to community needs. Next slide. So the first thing I just want to take a minute to talk about is, what is an energy program? And it kind of look, energy programs, yes, energy programs can look a lot of different ways. They have different parts that help change the way that we as consumers, as customers, use energy. And those basically have some different ingredients. The first is the technical element. This is a what. It's something like energy efficiency or electric vehicle charging stations or putting solar on your home. It's the thing that you're being encouraged to do. The next is the delivery element. So how is this particular activity being encouraged? Is it through an incentive? Is it through providing training, or something like that? And finally, who is it for? The customer type. Is this for residential customers or commercial? Is it more appropriately targeted at single family versus multifamily? We also looked at industrial and agricultural, and really looked at how would different kinds of programs meet the needs of communities of concern in particular. And those were the different elements of the energy programs that we looked at. Next. We there built a tool that took the information, the results of the survey that Nelson described, and linked that with the results of what different programs can provide to really help us prioritize. We looked at two different pieces of information that we could use to weight the different programs and see which one were most aligned. On the first set were those community priorities that Nelson just went through. And the second were organizational priorities. So SDCP is a nonprofit organization set up to serve these different jurisdictions. It has a strategy and goals and things that it needs to accomplish in order to really set the foundation and thrive long-term so that it can continue providing clean, affordable energy to all of its members. So thinking about how these things fit together, we put that through basically a pretty extensive weightings tool to look at what programs popped up as most closely aligned. Next. SDCP really has been impressive to me coming in as a consultant in this process. Having worked with many different communities and organizations, what really stands out to me about SDCP is their real commitment to communities of concern, to low-income communities of color and others who've been left out of this process. Next slide. SDCP is committed to supporting populations that have been historically left out. Many energy programs don't effectively meet the needs of low-income communities of color or disadvantaged communities or other populations. And the goal of this process, of this development of this plan, really centered on meeting the needs of communities of concern and putting equity at the center of the process in every aspect. gone through a process, and this is defined in more detail in the report itself or in the plan, to say, what do we mean by communities of concern? So these are based on Cal and VirusScreen, the top 25% scoring areas, and also looked at some other census tracts and indicators from some of the specific jurisdictions. Next. So it is our recommendation that SDCP continues to support this commitment by setting aside 50% of its non-administrative program budget towards participation with communities of concern. And that can look a lot of different ways. There's a lot of different ways to reach different communities. This will be an ongoing process, but that's the recommendation. Next. So now I want to walk through the different programs that popped up in this process as most closely aligned with meeting community needs, with meeting organizational needs, and delivering a suite of programs that SDCP can choose from as it delivers over the next 5 years. And I just want to say quickly, the list that we are going through is not a set of commitments of everything SDCP is going to do. It's sort of what is the best palette for them to choose from, or the best array of potential options that they can go down those paths, and knowing that if they go through a good process, that they will meet community needs. The other thing I want to say here is that we looked at, this is a 5-year process, so we looked at short-term and midterm and some long-term pieces. We're focusing today on the short and midterm to set, which will then help build SDCP's foundation, knowing the market is extremely dynamic, and so then may need to adjust long-term. It's very hard to predict where the energy market will be in beyond 5 years, but this is really about laying a strong foundation. Next. So in the short term, these were the goals of what SDCP should focus on. The first is filling immediate needs in customer education and awareness. We heard from a lot of stakeholders that there isn't a strong understanding of energy bills, of the ways that you can save energy, of what energy measures might look like. So there's a real opportunity to build on education and awareness. The next is to support access to available programs that are currently underutilized. There are existing programs that customers can access, and SDCP can help with that process. The third is leveraging existing external funding without committing SDCP internal funds at this time. And the reason is that SDCP as a new organization needs to build up some level of financial health so that it can continue to thrive and function as an organization. So targeting outside sources of funding from government or other sources can give it a lot more flexibility. And finally, to support pilot projects that can build out incentive programs with better alignment to community in the long term. Next slide. So when we talk about education and awareness, again, we heard a lot of comments that people didn't understand their energy bills or their usage. So there's real opportunities there. There's opportunities to think about education for contractors around equipment and providing and connecting people with contractors. And using just education by itself can really be effective in increasing behavior changes that save energy. Next. I mentioned that there are programs that exist that SDCP customers may have access to but may not know about. A lot of those programs have pretty extensive and challenging application processes. And SDCP is well positioned to connect customers to those existing resources to help bring energy incentives to the local area and help SDCP customers receive benefits of those programs. Next. The next piece is something that is utilizing some of these external funds that we were talking about. SDCP is in the process of moving forward to become an administrator of these two programs, which are quite interesting. These green tariff programs, the Disadvantaged Communities Green Tariff Program, it's referred to as DAC-GT when people are being wonky about it. And then the Community Solar Green Tariff, the CSGT. And these are really programs designed to bring the benefits of solar to communities that have not benefited in the past. So a lot of solar has gone into more resourced and single-family homes or commercial buildings, and under-resourced communities have not received those benefits. So these are opportunities for people to participate, even if they can't have solar on their homes, to lower their bill and receive those benefits in the community. And again, this is based on the Cal-Enviro Screen definition of disadvantaged. Next. Pilot programs are a really important opportunity for SDCP to gain experience with different kinds of programs for different segments of the market or of their customer base. By starting small and testing different innovative approaches and combinations. Remember, I talked about the technical element, the delivery element, and the market sector. So combining those in creative ways and deploying and really thinking across the full delivery of programs to build out their own resources and staffing and support, and really to work with partners and particularly in disadvantaged communities or in communities of concern to hear what works and what doesn't. Are these programs overcoming those historical barriers? And are they really meeting the needs of communities? Next. Next, we have a list of midterm programs that are, again, we think well aligned with community needs. As SDCP gains experience, conducts pilot programs and the like, they also can expand their targeting of external funds. So writing more grants or participating in procuring funding or obtaining funding that they can distribute, whether that's from local organizations or state or federal sources. So a lot of opportunities there. As they become better positioned with their internal resources, they then can think about how to channel some of their own revenues towards customer programs. And these are also programs that will take time to develop, so that they can make sure they're gathering the right data, building the right partnerships, and really support these programs effectively long-term. Next. So some of the things we heard from communities were around there was concern about climate change, there's concern about health, indoor and outdoor. And so one real opportunity that meets multiple community needs is supporting building electrification, which is a part of building decarbonization, reducing emissions, through heat pump technology. And heat pumps are a proven technology, but they are still emerging in the market and still are more expensive and have some additional challenges in moving in that direction. So this is an opportunity for SDCP to incentivize in a variety of different ways, electric heating and cooling through heat pumps. This is much more efficient. It's also healthier because they're electric and not natural gas, and avoid indoor pollution from natural gas. There are some other parts of updating buildings to be ready for this system, like electrical panel upgrades, and that should be considered as part of the incentive process and part of the delivery for customers, with particular focus on how to make these programs work for communities of concern. Next. Continuing with building electrification, transitioning away from natural gas appliances within the home is really important and aligns with the needs identified by the community. So this is things like induction stoves and dryers and things like that require natural gas. They are more expensive, they are healthier, and there are real opportunities to help move the market. Next. The next category here is around distributed energy resources. So a lot of projects have moved towards solar systems, but solar only really works during the day, and we have a lot in California, more energy during the day than we need sometimes, and less at night. And so bringing in batteries and other types of storage really can help us get more value out of our solar and our renewable energy, and create more flexibility. They also create an opportunity to reduce costs because you can manage what energy you're using at what time. They can improve grid resiliency, so making power outages less likely, and balancing loads, which is somewhat technical but really important from an overall perspective of how do we facilitate a just energy transition. And batteries also can be used to provide backup during times of disruption or outages. Next. Another aspect of demand response, which is really about when we use energy and how we use energy, is to focus on demand response that might include things like controls that limit peak demand. So, when you have an extreme heat event and a hot day in the summer, and sometimes you have rolling blackouts or rolling brownouts. So one thing that can be done to address that is whether it's through controls or just getting people to change their behavior to shift that load and keep the grid healthy, renewable resources, and really engaging customers in the overall health of our energy system. Next. Energy efficiency is always important. We often talk more about some of the more kind of newer strategies like heat pumps and things like that, but energy efficiency, reducing less energy, is always a good thing. And it's also an important part of decarbonization, and also an important part of improving indoor air quality and thermal comfort, particularly during extreme heat and cold. So this is examples of retrofitting a home to provide better insulation, or windows to put that absorbs less heat. Lots of opportunities around energy efficiency. Next. And finally, the last two, really hearing the concerns that people had about health, and also even about cost of operating households over time. We recommend that SDCP look at supporting transportation electrification infrastructure. So what that means is charging stations, particularly in communities that have been left out from electric vehicle charging. That will help increase customers' comfort and make them more likely to switch to electric vehicles, which then reduces carbon emissions. So a number of opportunities there to increase that infrastructure. Next. And then part of that is the support of light duty vehicles, which are basically cars. So regular, cars, maybe SUVs that are electric as opposed to gas powered. This is part of supporting a just and equitable transition, is making these vehicles more available through a variety of programs or approaches, particularly to low-income communities or to communities of color who may not have access from these things in the past. Next. And finally, really, again, thinking about the impacts of pollutants and air quality, as well as environmental and climate benefits. Large trucks, heavy duty, medium and heavy duty commercial vehicles actually have a very significant impact on air quality, particularly around ports or other logistics areas, as well as along highways. And those often tend to be areas where communities of concern may be located and may be more heavily impacted by those air pollution sources. And so transitioning these vehicles can be a powerful way to reduce emissions, reduce reliance on gas, and really support a transition in a way that brings air quality benefits across the community. Next. So I'm going to pass it back to Nelson now to talk about how you can provide input on this plan. But I just want to say a huge thank you to SDCP for really seriously engaging and listening and thinking about communities of concern and their commitment to equity in this very thoughtful approach. We hope that this is a powerful way to move forward and meet community needs.
Thanks, Heather. I appreciate that. And yes, I want to talk a little bit about ways that you can provide us with more input on the plan itself. So as you may have seen at the beginning of the presentation, we have the draft plan available for public comment now. Again, keeping in line with our commitment to equity and inclusion, we made the plan available in English, in Spanish, and in Tagalog. We are accepting comments for the plan for until the end of this month. So we opened this plan or opened the comment for this plan at the beginning of March, and it have made it available until the end, until midnight on March 31st. And keeping in mind with trying to make things inclusive and not be so formal about public comment, we are using an interactive tool to capture all of the comments that you may have. So with the public comment tool, it allows you to make comments, allows you to add suggestions, noted as either a question or even a typo. And what's really nice about it is that you can leave comments, suggestions, questions, or typos anywhere on the plan itself. So you can click on a word on a section and add your comment to that. Additionally, anything that is posted on the plan is available for everyone to see. So you can see other people's comments, you can like them or upvote them. You can add additional color to it as well. So you can reply and add your additional thoughts to it. If you agree with that comment, you can even like it. And it's a really nice way for the community to provide input on this without having to file formal letters, without having to hire a lawyer to then start in proceedings like the Public Utilities Commission does. So we really like this system, and we really encourage you all to please provide us with your feedback. I will go back one slide and just show you the URL to the plan. So you can either scan the QR code, or if you type in sdcommunitypower.org/CPP, it'll take you to our website where we have linked out to the plan. And you can see that plan in, again, those 3 languages, in English, Spanish, and Tagalog. So please encourage your friends and family and colleagues to check it out so that we can hear from as many people as possible. So with that, we've entered our question section of the presentation, and I already see 2 questions on here. So please use the question and answer, the Q&A function within within Zoom to submit your questions. Also feel free to type them into the chat. We will address those and we'll get started. So we have a question here in terms of, are we planning to provide customers with graphics and interactive tools to educate and show them the sources of energy in real time? And so that is a really excellent question and is a part of our commitment earlier or our proposed programs to do energy education. So that kind of idea falls within the energy education, and I think it's totally something that we can do. We are exploring the possibility of offering a quote unquote e-hub where residents and businesses can go onto and look to see the ways that they can electrify their homes or their businesses. So yes, all of those kinds of interactive tools on education are being considered by us as part of the short-term education programs. So there is a question here in terms of developing and providing additional NEM solar program to incentivize rooftop solar. So we currently do offer a net energy metering program that is separate from the utilities, and we do offer additional bonuses already that compensates customers who overgenerate at a higher rate than the utility. So we are keeping a close eye on the NEM 3.0 proceedings and policies and the way that it's being implemented, just to make sure that our customers are protected, to see how the implementation is going to play out, and see how we may need to adjust our program to make it better and stay competitive. Let's see, one more question that I see is, would it be possible for us to provide the respondents that asked for utility scale solar? Is the source of the respondents from interest group stakeholder interviews? So we aren't able to provide the specific information about the respondents that said utility scale solar, because we did not collect any personable identifiable information. We understood that in order for people to take a survey, they are much unlikely to take that survey if they had to input their name. And so we did not collect that type of information. However, the utility scale solar answer was included in the survey, and it did not come from interest group stakeholders. It actually came from the listening sessions and the pop-up events that we engaged in. So we went out into the community and asked, like, what would you like to see more of in terms of energy? And all of these, the utility scale solar came out of the community itself, letting us know that information. We did not in any way, shape, or form influence that. We just asked them what their priorities were, and that was one of the things that came out of. So that, yeah, that is, to answer that, we aren't able to share who the respondents are because we don't know that information. Okay, I'm seeing more questions. Are proposals separated for those for residential versus commercial and businesses? Yes. So within the community power plan, it is not. We did not separate out the program types based on residential or commercial, because we heard from both of these groups similar types of needs and goals, and so we were able to combine those into the program types that we have listed on the plan. However, when it comes down to us implementing the specific programs, we will be separating those between residential and commercial and businesses. So yes, they will be separated. They are not within the plan because it's more of a strategic plan looking overall for the next 5 years. And we heard similar needs from both of our resident and commercial customers. Let me look at the next question. There's a comment that says customers would greatly benefit from smart technology to show them how much energy each of their devices and appliances is consuming. This would also help them conserve energy when needed. Any plans to make this available? Again, yes, as part of our energy and energy awareness and education programs, we're going to explore all sorts of different ways that we can help educate our customers, including the ability to use smart devices to educate them. The benefit to that as well is that, as Heather noted, there is a demand response component to our midterm programs. And one of the ways that we can do demand response is through smart devices. So that is definitely something that we are considering. The details in terms of what the incentive will look like, what the program will look like, that still needs to be worked out. And it's important for me to note as well here is that any program that we launch to our customers will go through an extensive public engagement piece. We will take it to our community advisory committee. So we have we have a community advisory committee that meets monthly, and they get to look at all the programs that we do. And then our board ultimately needs to vote to authorize that program. So there will be further engagement with the community in terms of publicly sharing what we are doing in terms of programs. So there's a question here that says, I'd like to ask a question as the chair of the Environmental and Climate Justice Committee of the NAACP and SDC. Will the community power plan, community priorities from the community engagement be sorted and listed by most important? I ask because currently the list of the areas of importance in the current state shows the last importance for the most ratepayers to have lower utility bills. That is a great feedback. We've seen that comment come through as well within our the public comment period. And we are definitely taking that back and thinking about sorting it through the most important, the way we heard it from our community. So yes, we are looking at that and thinking for the next, the draft that we take to our board for adoption will probably be sorted. And there's a comment in here about thank you for appreciating us sharing that was important during today's presentation. And I appreciate that. And so we are going to be posting this presentation along with the slides on our website. Again, go to sdcommunitypower.org/CPP, and you will gain access to all of that, as well as the link to the community power plan as well. So I'm trying to see if there's any other questions that I may have missed. None in the chat and none in the question and answers. Any last minute thoughts or questions that you may all have? If not, I think we can go on to the end of our presentation. So again, just want to thank you so much for being here today. Your feedback is incredibly valuable to us. And we really encourage you to please check out the plan, view the plan, scan the QR code, go to our website, read through it. We put a lot of work into this and we really wanted to get this right. This isn't just a checkbox kind of thing for us. This is really what's going to drive the types of programs that we do in the future to make sure that they meet the needs and goals of our community. So with that, thank you so much. Hope to hear from you all on the plan, and I appreciate you all being here today. Thank you.